My name is Pan. I'm a Filecoin IPFS dev advocate, and I'm very passionate about design and 3D graphics. In fact, I began my career as a designer and a few years working as an artist myself, and finally I got into coding while trying to animate computer graphics. Today, I'm pretty excited to be giving this opportunity to teach you how to model the very first voxel game characters using an open source 3D voxel editor called MagicaVoxel. But first, you ask, what are voxels? For those of you who don't know what voxels are like 2D pixels, except they live in 3 dimensions. So if you have painted using early Microsoft Paint program before, then it's very similar, except in MagicaVoxel, you will be painting an X, Y, Z axis instead. So for those of you who are game designers, you might ask, why build in voxels, right? What are the benefits here? I think voxels are pretty quick and easy to model and gives your NFT or your game characters better time to market. It has the nostalgic look and feel like one of those 8-bit Nintendo games. So they're pretty relatable to general audience, not just any hardcore gamers. They are highly configurable because voxel models are modular. It is much easier to create variations, attributes, and props for your characters. If you have done some gaming in the past few years, you might have come across this game called Crossy Roads, shown here on the screen. Crossy Roads was a very popular arcade game a few years ago, where the player controlled an animal character, the primary one being the voxel chicken, to cross the roads and dodge the obstacles like cars, trains, and jump across the rivers. The game popularized the modern voxel style game, and since then, many games were inspired to be all voxels after the success of this Crossy Road game. And of course, Minecraft, it's probably the very first 3D game ever that made voxels extremely popular. So for what it's worth, I think there's a pretty good chance Crossy Roads used MagicaVoxel for their game design at first. But if you know better, please let me know. So today you will be modeling Biscuit here, our Filecoin resident corgi, from scratch in MagicaVoxel. We will spend a bit of time getting to know our way around MagicaVoxel UI and most useful components. Then we'll talk a bit about basic designing and building voxel characters from my experience as a designer, but just enough to whet your appetite and get you playing. And then I'll dive into building the corgi while we learn how to use the tools in MagicaVoxel by doing the project. Because I believe getting your hands dirty is a way better to learn. Then in the end, if we have some time left, I'll be happy to answer any questions from you, or always feel free to join our Filecoin Slack or DM me on Twitter or on Discord.
So before we begin, we need MagicaVoxel, of course. So please go ahead and use the link to download here, the first link on the screen. If you'd like to just follow through with this workshop. And also the second link here is it's pretty optional. You can download OBJ to GLTF using npm to use as a command line tool or JavaScript library on your front end to convert OBJ models to GLBs. And what is the GLB format? GLB is a 3D file format that's using or all kinds of stuff online like VR, AR, web apps. You know, it supports motion animation. It also is very fast because it has a very small size. So GLB files are kind of like a binary version of, if you have heard of this, it's the GLTF, GL transmission format file. which uses JSON instead, so it's human readable. GLB is not human readable, but it's very popular format to be used on the web, just because it loads very fast. The command line, obj2gltf command line, is totally optional, but highly recommended. I can see someone is having fun sketching on the screen. That's cool. Someone is being creative here. Okay, let's go on to modeling your design. All right. So I'm assuming that a lot of you are design engineers, or you have some design passion here, and that's why you're here. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to model your design in the perspective of a designer or a modeler. So you can see here, all I had to start with was this 2D cartoon version of the Gorgie. I didn't have much to start with, so it was pretty fun also because it left a lot of rooms for creativity and interpretation. Here are the keys to modeling your voxel characters. The first is to capture a few distinct qualities of a character, apart from colors. Colors are surprisingly the least important representation of something. For instance, if one day I just turned green and my hair turned red, you would still be able to tell it's me, right? So we don't think of colors as being the identifying trait. We can use them as variation in your NFTs or whatever. As an example, you can see the Gorgie here. What I think makes a Gorgie are maybe the long upward neck and the big chest. Like, it's a very proud dog, right? Like when it's walking or it's standing straight, it looks very proud. And of course, compared to its stature, it has a very stubby set of legs. And of course, the chunky and much bigger hind legs and the buttocks. So these are the qualities you want to capture when you model your voxel characters. And here are some more examples of modeling voxels after pixel-based art. As you can see to the right is the 2D version of the artwork or design from this music video Give Me Proof from Filecoin. And to the right hand side are the voxel models I created. The second key to modeling your design, your voxel, is to get the right proportion of a character. Here you can see the pickle heart character here, the rapper guy here. His irises, the black spots in the eyes, are clearly 1 unit pixel in the 2D version, right? So that could be converted to a unit voxel 1-to-1 in 3D. And I started with that. And the rest kind of followed and related to it. Since pixels and voxels are very similar, the only challenge I think lies in interpreting the depth of or the size of the model based on the 2D pixels. So I did some guesswork around that. That is where you get to be really artistic and creative about your modeling. And after all, it's really all about not taking your original designs literally and really make sure the voxel models look great on their own. Okay, so let's dive into MagicaVoxel UI and control. And let's go really quickly. Okay, So I hope by this time, if you wanted to follow through, you already have MagicaVoxel on the screen. But if not, this session is recorded, so you should be good to go later. If you can see here to the right-hand side of the screen of the MagicaVoxel UI here, that's the color palette. So it should be really familiar to a lot of you who have done some editing, graphics editing before. So let's just choose the colors and whatnot here. They have some predefined colors. And right down here, you could see, you could also add your own colors. And okay, here, to the right-hand side of this color palette is the brush pane. The brush pane is very important. It's actually where you'll be using it a lot. The brush pane here, most of the time you'll be using the 3 brushes here: the voxel brush, face brush, and box brush. And for each brush, you could actually choose an action: attach action, erase action, or pane action. Let me show you yours. So I'm using the voxel brush, and then I choose the erase action. As you can see here, you can sculpt away voxel by voxel. So that's pretty cool. All right, and the attach action, I'm still using the voxel brush. Let you build, let you paint or add voxels in any color that you like. Keep in mind that voxels are like pixels, so they're the smallest units here. There you go. And of course, paint. Paint means you can paint the existing voxels in any color that you like. Again, you can see that we're painting the whole voxels, okay? We're not painting just any side of the voxels. We're painting the whole voxels. The face brush here is very interesting. It lets you deal with the whole face, contiguous face. Let's see this face. I want to erase this face. There we go. So I can erase it face by face. I can switch to attach mode, and that would just add more faces. And of course, paint. You can paint it face by face. Oh, and by the way, just how you rotate your model and zooming or panning is very similar to any other 3D modeling softwares here. There's no surprise here. And last but not least, the box brush here just it's very similar to the voxel brush, but it allows you to kind of build planes of voxels instead of dots of voxels. You can build planes. It's pretty handy. Okay, let's move on to down here, below the brush pane. You would see the view pane here. So you can let's delete the model here. So it's right. Okay, you can choose how your space will look like. You can turn on the edge. You can turn off and on the grid and the frame, stuff like that. And of course, the center here is the editor where you mostly work with your model. And then to the right-hand side of your editor window here is the edit pane here. So what you can do, okay, what you can do here is that you can delete your model, you can flip your model, and you can scale your model. And there's a lot more things you can do to transform your model. And to the right-hand side here is the project pane. So that's where you can, save and, open your projects and stuff like that. And the last one here is the export pane here. So that's where you export your model into some other file formats like OBJ, for instance. Okay, so without further ado, let's try to dive into building our Corgi. I'm going to show you this Corgi really quickly. Oh. All right, and this is Biscuit, our resin Corgi. I can render it as well. So MagicaVoxel has a really decent built-in renderer, as you can tell. So let's start with this. Okay, and then I'm just gonna delete the model. Oops. Okay. Really quickly. Okay. So if you're starting here from scratch, just delete your whatever model you're seeing on your screen, and then make sure your space is set to 40 by 40 by 40, so you have some room to work with. Okay, and right now I'm just kind of bringing up the Corgi. So here, okay. So keep in mind that I'm modeling from the model that I've built already. If you're in real life, you'll probably be modeling from Sketch or from 2D sketches and stuff. So it would just like take a bit more work here. Okay. So for me, I like to start with the snout of the dog. It's just like a very easy place to start. So let's see, I think I should start with 4 by 4 voxel cube. So let's start with the box brush and attach action. And then let's do it 4 by 4. There we go. Very good. Let's change the color to something more realistic here. Boom. Okay. And then I'm switching to the face brush and attach action so I can extrude it up 4 voxel units. Okay. And then I'll switch to voxel brush and then paint mode, paint action here. And then I'll just paint the nose. And watch this. This is something that's really handy here. Go to the mirror option here, right under the brushes, and then click X. What it does is it lets you kind of copy whatever you're working on across the X-axis. Sort of like reflecting your work to the opposite side, which is really handy because a lot of times your voxel characters are symmetrical. So I'm going to show you this. So I'm just going to paint the nose and see this, it just automatically painted the other side as well. And then I'm just going to use the voxel brush and the erase action to sculpt away the mouth a little. That's it. I've got the snout. And then I use the move tool, move it up a little bit so it's easy to work with. Okay, and I'm just kind of go around here. Let's do the head of the dog here. Let's start with the box, and then let's do the orange, brownish orange for the skin tone. Okay, and then, sorry, attach the box. There we go. Switch to face, brush, and then use attach action to extrude it a little bit here. Note that we're still doing the mirror thingy here, so that's why it's, if right now I'm on a face brush, I'm using the face brush and then attaching the voxels. I'm gonna do this offset. Yeah. So you can see the your work actually being reflected on the other side is pretty cool. Attach. I'm gonna extrude this up 1, 2, 3, 4 voxel units. Great. Now let's paint the eyes here. Let's see, should be around. Okay, sorry. Voxel brush and then paint action. And voila. Okay, I'm happy. Let's do the iris. It's pretty awesome. Okay, let's move on to the ear. It's the box brush. Attached. Let's do the ear here. Oops. Now that's a different color. I can use the eyedropper to select the color that I want from the model too. That's what I did. The box brush attached. There we go. Nice. All right, and then I use the box brush again. Just kind of build something here, and then the face brush. I use the face brush to extrude it up all the way. All right, and then I use the voxel brush and the erase action to just kind of sculpt away the parts I don't need. Right, and then I use the face brush and then erase action to just get rid of the whole thing. Now I can select the paint here, and then I can paint with a voxel brush. I can paint the inside of the ear like that. Okay, so we're kind of almost there. This is like the hardest part, the head actually. And then let's paint this part here as well. Okay, I'm happy here. Now we're going to use the face brush and then attach, and then we can extrude this. Oops, sorry. I like the orange color. Extrude it all the way to the ground. Like that. And then let's approximate here. I need it to be a little taller, so I'm going to move this up here. And then I'm just going to use the face brush to extrude that more. And then let's approximate his body. Use the box brush and attach to create like a plane for his body. Like that. And then face brush to extrude it. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna move them up a little bit more, like that. Okay, I'm happy with the size. Then I'm just gonna use the voxel brush to erase this part I don't need. Should use the face brush is better. There we go, much faster. Okay, and let's start modeling the legs. Let's do this. Okay, before that, let's just paint this part here. Take the light yellow, and then paint. All right, let's just, there might be detail here. We can just kind of paint that. There we go. Okay, let's use the box brush and then attach to make the base for the front leg. It should be around that. Maybe bigger. And then that, and then use the face brush to extrude all the way to the ground. Okay, I kind of like the length of the legs here, so I'm just gonna Oops, sorry. Just switch to the box brush and then do this. Okay, so I have a pair of nice planes, voxel planes for the front legs. Pretty great. So I'm just gonna paint the socks for this guy here. Voxel, paint, oops. Use the paint and then paint away. Okay, and then I'll use the face brush again and then just kind of extrude it out a little. Oops. There we go. And then let's do the hind legs here. Alrighty, it's just the box brush again. And then the hind leg should be slightly higher up here. Okay. All right, and again, we use the box brush to define the plane, and then the face brush to extrude down all the way here. And then use the box brush to kind of, oh, we can just sculpt this away actually. So use the voxel brush and erase action and make his hind leg a little round and cute like that. Okay, I'm happy here. Okay, and then let's stay with the voxel brush and then paint the socks. Oops, what am I doing? Paint. Oh, I forgot to choose the paint, voxel, and then paint away. Okay. All right. I'm kind of happy here. Use the face brush and then just extrude it so that they're as thick as the front leg. Again, sorry. Okay, face attached. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. You sort of like have the whole thing and just the tail here. So I'm just gonna turn off the mirror option here because it's just easy. Let's just voxel erase, make his butt top a little rounder, and then the box. Okay, maybe a little bit too much. Okay. All right, and then I use the box brush. Just maybe make one more here, up here. And that's it. And boom, we have the Corgi. Okay. If we should have some time here. Okay. So here's the thing. What you can do is that if you press tab, you enter the word mode. So with word mode, you can sort of just move things around without touching the model. So you don't have to, you can't edit the model directly, but you can sort of move things around. In the word mode, this is where you work on separate isolated components. So you can choose to work on the legs, the face, and your heads and ears and stuff like that as separate components, which is pretty handy. So let's say if we choose this space and then we press tab to go back to the editing mode, we won't be able to touch our origin model because we're in a different local space, which is pretty handy because right now, so that you can just kind of model something else entirely isolated from your other models. Okay. All right, now it's the time to go to export. Let's save this first. All right. Let's duplicate this. Yes. And then let's put some name here. Biscuit. Clone 1. Save. Boom. And then now you can export to OBJ. Here, let's find this clone one. All right. So you can save it here. And then let's switch to our terminal here. This is totally optional, but kind of recommended here. So, if you have downloaded OBJ2GLTF here, this is where you can use it. You see the in the folder here, you can see a bunch of files, OBJ files, and MTL files, material, PNG files for the textures. So it's kind of difficult to handle all these files when totally online. So use this command line OBJ2GLTF to just kind of convert the OBJ file to this GLB file here. And this GLB file right here is very small, and you could totally use it for your NFT store and stuff because everything is self-contained. You have material, color, everything you see in your editor will be embedded in that single file, which is pretty convenient. So congratulations if you've been following through. You have created your first voxel module. It's free. It's not basic. The Biscuit model. It's already really a good start here. And hold on. Where's my screen? Okay. So the next steps I recommend is to try to upload your GLB files to NFT storage. And use the CID to fetch and display your 3D creations on your NFT store or game. And you can also, just use the JavaScript library of NFT.storage as well if you want to programmatically do that on your front-end web application. You can also try to import your OBJ model into Blender and add some riggings, kinematics, and use them in the game engine like Unity. Also check out Adobe Mixamo, I think. So after you rig your model, you could plug in some predefined animations and start seeing your characters animate without having to do any work.
So thank you for watching, and I hope this has been fun and useful. If you need some help or questions, again, hit me up on Twitter or Discord, shown here. You should also join the IPFS and Filecoin community on Discord and Slack, or just say hi to us in our Gather Town using the invite link shown here, or just DM me for the link.